Hey, welcome to today's lesson. In today's lesson, I'm going to help you master the English language by watching and breaking down a real English conversation. This is going to help you sound more like a native English speaker. Are you ready? Well then, I'm Teacher Tiffany. Let's jump right in. Now, what we're going to do is look at different parts of a conversation. And when we look at the conversation, we're going to be listening for new words, new expressions, and also how the individuals express themselves. That's how you get fluent in English. So here's the first part of the conversation.
When I was in high school, I was a pretty good football player, but didn't get a scholarship. And I was very disappointed. But I got to go to England and play football again. Pads and the full thing, and they treated me like a celebrity over there. So it was on.
Yeah.
And it was just I just love the English people.
Yeah.
I love the culture. I mean, it was just a very nice environment for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it and didn't want to come back.
So you see, again, a very short 30-second portion of the conversation, but there were a lot of words and expressions used during the conversation. So let's first look at the new words and expressions, and then we're going to break down how you can speak just like he was speaking during the conversation. Now, the first thing I want us to look at, number one, is when he said this. When I was in high school, I was a pretty good football player. But I didn't get a scholarship and I was very disappointed. Now, he didn't just say I was a good football player. He said pretty good. And this is something that we as native English speakers use a lot. But in order for you to use it naturally, you have to understand the meaning. So let me explain what this means. Pretty good actually means average or extremely good. I know it's a little confusing. Don't worry, I'll explain. You see, it all depends on the way it is used and the person's facial expression when they use it. So for example, let's say again, in the conversation, he said, I was a pretty good football player. His facial expressions showed some confidence, right? He didn't say, I was pretty good. You see how my facial expression suddenly changed the meaning. I was pretty good, meaning I was average. But if I say, I was pretty good, you can tell by my facial expression that I knew, I was real good. I was amazing, extremely good. So that's how this expression can be used in two different ways. So let's look at an example sentence. I was a pretty good baseball player when I was in high school. Now again, depending on the facial expression, the meaning can change, either an average baseball player or an extremely good baseball player. Make sense? All right, after me. Pretty good. Excellent, very good. Now, in the other part of the conversation, he also said it was on. You heard him say that part, right? We'll watch it again, don't worry. He said it was on. Now, what does it mean when we as native English speakers say it was on? You see, this expression is kind of a slang term. It means this is what you say when the battle or showdown or project is about to begin, or when you want to fight someone after school. So let me explain. So, for example, think about when you were in high school, and let's say there was a little disagreement between two high school students, and they said, okay, I'm going to see you after school. I'm going to talk to you after school. You could tell by their body language that they were probably going to fight. When they went outside after school to fight, if someone says, hey, they're about to start, they could say it was on, meaning they were about to start the fight. But the other explanation, again, is when you're about to start a big battle, start a big project. So he was talking about football. He said, oh man, they gave me the ball and it was on. He was about to accomplish something. So let's look at this example sentence right here. After he threw the first punch, it was on. The fight began. It started. Makes sense, right? Okay, so again, after me, it was on. Excellent. Very good. And again, we're going to watch the clip, the short clip again, so you can see how these words and expressions were used during the conversation. But the one I want us to look at before we go to that clip again is right here. Number 3. He said, I love their culture. I mean, it was just a very nice environment for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't want to come back. Now, for pronunciation, I want you to repeat after me. Thoroughly enjoyed. Good. TH, put your tongue through your teeth. Thoroughly enjoyed. Excellent. Now, this is something we use on a regular basis. Thoroughly enjoying something. It means to enjoy something completely, totally, or very much. For example, I thoroughly enjoy Indian food. Y'all know that. I love Indian food. I really enjoy it. So I can say I thoroughly enjoy Indian food. Again, to enjoy something completely. Now look at this example sentence. They thoroughly enjoyed her oatmeal this morning. Makes sense. They really liked it. They really enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed. This is what we say in English. So after me, thoroughly enjoy. Excellent. Now, let's check out the clip one more time, and I want you to recognize all of the expressions that were used. Here we go, one more time.
When I was in high school, I was a pretty good football player, but didn't get a scholarship. And I was very disappointed. But I got to go to England and play football again. Pads and the full thing, and they treated me like a celebrity over there. So it was on.
Yeah.
And it was just I just love the English people.
Yeah.
I love the culture. I mean, it was just a very nice environment for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it and didn't want to come back.
So you caught all the words and expressions, right? Thoroughly enjoyed. It was on. But now that we understand the expressions and the words, I want to break down the conversation a little bit more. You see, what was happening during this part of the conversation was that OB, his name is OB, family friend, was reminiscing, was thinking about something from the past, a good memory. You see, in this part of the conversation, OB is talking about his past experience, but you can tell that he is reminiscing because he goes into detail about his feelings during that time. This is something that is very important to English fluency. Talking about your feelings during a past experience. So let me explain things to remember when you're doing this in a conversation. Remember these 3 things when you speak about your experience. First, remember to talk about the experience. He talked about playing football. He talked about his experience in London. Second, remember to talk about how you felt during the experience. He talked about how he felt. Again, you start with talking about your experience. Then you talk about how you felt during the experience. And finally, remember to talk about how you felt after the experience. In that short 30-second clip, that 30-second portion of the conversation, he was able to do all of this. That is why he's a native English speaker, speaking English fluently, able to give enough information no matter what you're discussing. So again, when you're talking about your experience, remember to talk about it, talk about how you felt during the experience and how you felt after the experience. Makes sense, right? Okay, let's jump to the second part of the conversation. Here's part 2 of our conversation.
And they shipped me this place called Washington, D.C. that I fought.
Well, we love you. We're so glad you're here.
Not to come here and haven't been anywhere since.
Man. Now, this is not really connected with the question, but just since you mentioned you were a football player, and I do like football, what position did you play?
Played quarterback. You mean I haven't showed you the press clippings in this? Oh, after we turned the camera off, our school assistant.
You were a quarterback.
What had it going on? I was pretty good.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah, I know. When I first told the dear wife, back in the day, she looked at me. She looked up and down. Yeah, right. Then I broke out the press clippings on her sister.
And then she believed you, right?
The press speaks for itself.
Oh, yes.
All right, now I was smiling really big as I watched that clip. Again, you can tell that something was happening during this part of the conversation. A lot of laughter, but then there were a lot of extra expressions and some slang that was used that for you as an English learner can be a little bit confusing if no one explains it to you. I'm going to explain it to you and give you the tools you need to start using it and start sounding like a native English speaker, each and every one of them. So the first one right here, press clipping. So he said, I played quarterback. Then he said, wait, you mean I haven't shown you the press clippings of this? After we turned the camera off. Again, this is how he was talking to me, right? But what are press clippings? Press clippings. Let me explain what press clippings are. You see, press clippings, again, something very important. They literally are a compilation, or it's a paragraph. A paragraph or a short article that's cut out of a newspaper or magazine. We call that a press clipping. A story from a magazine or from a newspaper that has been cut out and taken. Now, again, he said he had press clippings about when he used to play high school football, when he played football when he was younger. So here's an example sentence. His wallet was always full of press clippings of funny stories that he would read to fellow members. He always had these little pieces of paper, these press clippings, stories from articles or articles from newspapers or magazines. We say press clippings. Your turn. Excellent job. Very good. Now, in the next part of the conversation, he also said this right here. He said, oh, I'll school a sister. And that's actually how he said it. Now, this is slang, so I'll say it again in the right way. Oh, I'll school a sister. Now, this is something, again, I use it all the time. I'm a school you. I use it a lot when I played basketball. Let me explain what this actually means. So the expression is school somebody, and it means to educate or put a person in his or her place, to teach someone something. All right. It's when you're in a position to teach someone else something that they don't know. And it's kind of, you can use it in a funny way. Oh, I'll school you on that. Don't worry. I'll school you on that. I'll teach you that. I'll inform you of that. I'm going to teach you something, and it's slang. So here's the example sentence right here. I'm about to school you. Now, again, I told you when I played basketball, I used this all the time. So I enjoyed dribbling. Like, I was a point guard. I could shoot really well. So depending on who I was playing, if I was talking trash or just playing around with my friends, I said, okay, I'm about to school you. And I would take the ball down and shoot. And again, it just means I'm about to teach you something. I'm about to teach you how to play basketball, right? But you can use it in any situation, but it's slang, all right? I wish I had a basketball right now. Okay, so again, after me, school somebody. Excellent job. Very good. All right, the next thing he used a lot of expressions to have it going on. He said, I had it going on. I mean, you know, I was pretty good. You remember we learned that right from the first clip, pretty good. And you see the way he's talking, he's speaking in a very confident way. So it means he was extremely good. But what does it mean to have it going on? Here's the meaning of this one as well. It's also slang. To be attractive or socially successful, or to have an aura of success. Like, I know I'm really good. I know I'm amazing. I have it going on. That's what he was saying. Hey, I was good in football. Everybody knew it. I had it going on. I was amazing. I was socially successful. Makes sense, right? So let me show you an example sentence. Here we go. He really had it going on when he was in high school. And he did, right? He played football really well. He had it going on. Now, again, this is slang, but hey, if you know how to use it properly, you'll sound more like a native English speaker. Now, the other thing he said was break out something. He said, yeah, you know, when I first told the dear wife, his wife, you know, back in the day, a long time ago, when he was younger, she looked at me, looked up and down, and said, yeah, right. Then I broke out the press clippings on a sister. Again, He's speaking about his ability, and then his wife kind of doubts him, so he broke out something. What does broke out? To break out something. So this expression, break out something, it means to present something for use, especially something that had been stored out of sight or concealed. His wife had never seen the press clippings, right? They were somewhere concealed or out of sight. So he said, let me take them out. I'm going to break out the press clippings. Makes sense, right? Let me break out the proof. All right, so here we go. Here's the example sentence. I dove under the counter when the robber broke out a gun. The gun had been concealed, but the robber broke out the gun. That makes sense, right? So again, I want you to repeat after me. Break out something. Excellent job. Very good. Now, there's one other expression he used that is also very important. He said, yeah, the press speaks for itself. Now, this expression speaks for itself. What does it mean when you say speaks for itself? Let me break it down. Here we go. Speaks for itself. Now, this just means if something speaks for itself, it is clear and needs no further explanation. Everything makes sense. Hey, listen, my English speaks for itself. I'm a native English speaker. And you, after this lesson, someone will say, wow, your English is really good. You say, yeah, my English speaks for itself. It's good. You don't need any other explanation. Here's the example sentence. The school's excellent record speaks for itself. No other explanation or details are needed. Makes sense, right? So after me, speaks for itself. Excellent job. Very good. So now that we know these new expressions, I want us to listen to the clip one more time. Here we go. Pay attention. Here we go.
And they shipped me this place called Washington, D.C. that I fought.
Well, we love you. We're so glad you're here.
Not to come here and haven't been anywhere since.
Man. Now, okay, now this is not really connected with the question, but
Right.
since you mentioned you were a football player, and I do like football, what position did you play?
Played quarterback. You mean I haven't showed you the press clippings in this? Oh, after we turned the camera off, our school assistant.
You were a
What
quarterback.
had it going on? I was pretty good.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah, I know. When I first told the dear wife, back in the day, she looked at me. She looked up and down. Yeah, all right. Then I broke out the press clippings on her sister.
And then she believed you, right?
Yeah, the press speaks for itself.
Oh, yes.
All right, so you caught them this time, right? All of the new expressions, the slang terms, again, used in a real English conversation. But I want us to look at this right here because I want you to understand what happened in this part of the conversation. You see, he was providing support and proof for what he was telling me. In this part of the conversation, OB starts to present information that proves he was good at playing football. He says that he will show me some press clippings. These clippings were the proof his wife needed to believe his story. Again, you're seeing English fluency is not just about the number of words you use. It's about being able to support your answer, give proof for what you're saying, and when you learn this strategy, you'll be able to speak English fluently. So things to remember, this rule when you are giving your opinion or a story. Here we go. Always provide supporting information and details that will help people believe what you are saying. Again, as an English learner, I know you may be a little nervous sometimes to speak in English. Don't worry about making mistakes. Instead, focus on providing information that supports what you're saying. I've had so many students, especially when I was in Korea, that came to me for an interview. And they had to figure out which level they were going to go into when I worked at the Institute. And the students that made grammar mistakes, however, but they were able to support their answers and give me details and information, those students were placed higher than students that made no mistakes but were not able to give me supporting information. It's really about your ability to give supporting information for what you're saying. Now, honestly, I hope this lesson really helped you. I hope you enjoyed the conversations. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with my family friend OB. And I hope to see you next time. Keep studying hard. Now, remember, I do have a free PDF for you. If you want to keep studying and mastering the English language and you want to speak like a native, hit the link right in the description. It's for the Speak English Like a Native, the action plan. A totally free PDF that will take you through the steps you need to follow in order to speak English like a native English speaker. I hope you enjoyed the lesson again, and I will talk to you next time. You still there? You know what time it is. Here we go. It's story time. Hey, I said it's story time. All right. Today's story is actually about something you all know that I love. So, Christmas. Now, Christmas was a few weeks ago, and my family and I, we had a wonderful time together. So, during the day, we had wonderful food together. We decided to make Mexican food. It was delicious. And we had worship together. We talked about all the things that we appreciated that God had given us. And then we went to open up the gifts. So my parents and I, my sister, my brother-in-law, and my nieces, we all went to the family room where the big tree was, and we were all opening up our gifts. Everyone was opening up gifts, and my sister and I, we were in shock because usually my nieces, they're the kids, they get a lot more gifts because, we're older and it's fine, the kids can have it. But this year, my parents decided to give my sister and I a lot of gifts. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was happy. So my sister and I were extremely happy this year. And of course, we got our parents gifts too, but it was really nice. So everyone was happy. I gave my family members some paintings I did, and they were happy. I had them framed and everything. So we came to what we thought was the end of our gift giving time. And we were just sitting there talking, and my dad suddenly stood up and said, "Hey, so I have something else that I want to bring out, and it's for the entire family, so I need you guys to go to the other room." Now, let me just give you a little bit of history. My dad, for honestly the last, I think, 15 years, has always bought himself a gift and put one of our names on it and said, "Oh, well, thank you, Tiff, I didn't know you bought this for me." And I didn't buy it for him. He bought it for himself. So we had this ongoing joke that my dad likes to buy himself gifts and put one of our names on it. So we just expected it to be another one of those because up until that point, he had not opened a gift that he bought for himself. So he said, "I have a gift that's for the whole family." So we're like, what could this be? So he said, "Hey, just everybody go to the living room." So we went to the living room. We're just sitting there, wait maybe about 5 minutes. And we're like, what is Daddy getting? And he comes downstairs with a big black thing. It was a karaoke machine. And he had a microphone. Now, let me explain something. You guys know I like singing. I love music. My entire family, everyone in my family loves music. So we said, oh, yeah, it had lights and everything. Now, here's the thing. My family, we're very loving. We're cool. Put a mic in our hand. We're going to put a show on. So anyways, my dad said, all right. So he had everybody's favorite song. So my parents went first. My dad and my mom sang a song, and they were just dancing around. And then he said, all right, baby girl, talking to me. He said, Tiff, it's your turn. And there's this song that I really like. When I was in Korea, I sang it all the time we went to the karaoke place. So I'll sing a little bit of it for you. You say I'm crazy, but you don't really know what you've done. I'll stop there. But I sang the whole song, and I was giving it my all. And then my sister went, and she was singing, and my brother-in-law went up. We had an amazing time. And we laughed so hard because the year we thought my dad was going to get himself something really big is the year he bought something big that the entire family could really enjoy. And it was a great memory singing on Christmas night with my family. Hopefully you also had some wonderful memories, made some wonderful memories with your family on Christmas. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the story, and I'll talk to you guys next time.